I am so excited to be here tonight. It's my first time. It's been on my radar for a few years, and it's so exciting to be in this beautiful space. And I figured that we could start off the night with some group vocalizing, because I have a hunch that there's some juicy voices in the mix. And I am born and based in New York City. I feel like this wind machine is really helping me right now. I'm from New York City. I live in New York City and the Catskills upstate. And I am a musician and an educator. I was classically trained on the violin and now generally perform as a kind of experimental folk outfit. Sometimes I call it cowboy soul, but usually I'm performing with electronic instruments and kind of like experimental sounds, and I figured that it could be fun to strip it down and just be really vulnerable and real with you all tonight. Yeah, so we can do it all together. So I'm going to lead us in something that's incredibly vulnerable, which is using our voices to either be in harmony or dissonance with one another. And I'd love to lead us in a human tuning exercise. So this is from Pauline Oliveros. Has anybody ever done this before? Excellent. Okay, we're gonna have some friends leading the charge. Basically, there are two rules that cancel each other out. So basically there's no rules, but the guidepost is that we are all going to take a deep breath in and then a deep breath out. So we're going to do this one kind of like inhale, exhale together. Then on the second inhale, you're going to think of a note, any note, and you're just going to pluck it out of thin air and you're going to release it with your voice. It can be a sound. It doesn't have to be beautiful even. It can just be an expression that is true and comes from deep within your heart space. And I'm going to encourage folks to close your eyes if you want to, because that can kind of help shed maybe the shyness that one might feel doing something new. And after you do that first note, you're going to just let it taper as long as it needs to, and try to listen in the room and see if you can hear somebody else's voice and somebody else's note. And here are the rules. You either sing the same note or you sing a different note. That's it. So it really doesn't matter. You can make any sound, and it's okay if it doesn't sound beautiful. It's okay if it doesn't sound harmonious. But we're going to just allow ourselves to, at our own pace, vocalize. I'm going to leave it open. We're going to just feel it out and kind of breathe together and sing together and tune ourselves in the same way that I got to make sure my banjo's in tune. They are often not. And the idea is that we are all instruments, right? And so we can tune ourselves by listening deeply to other people in the room, and that helps to open our hearts and our minds. And I think that this would be a beautiful way to start this evening in community together. So we're going to take a deep breath in, deep breath out, deep breath in, and then a note. Okay? So let's just go in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more time, in and out. Ooh. And at your own pace, just change notes now. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Yes. Ooh, that gives me tingles and goosebumps. Thank you. So beautiful. So we're going to continue the group sing-along vibe. And I'm going to teach you the chorus of a song. It's very simple. It's just 2 chords. And the lyrics just repeat over and over again. So don't be shy. I know I feel like I'm having my Mariah Carey moment. Feels so good. So very simply, this song is about little tiny things that can make you happy and turn the mood around. So the chorus goes like this. I get happy when you're happy. When you're happy, I'm happy. When you're happy, honey, I get happy too. Very simple, right? I'll try it again, and if you have some courage, join in. I get happy when you're happy. When you're happy, I'm happy. When you're happy, honey, I get happy too. Yeah. And you'll know in your bones when it's time to join in. I promise. I don't even have to cue you. You'll just feel it. So happy to be here. Thank you so much. I don't need nothing but a good pair of socks and my collection of rocks and you. And I don't need nothing but some good conversation. I get well satiated talking with you. 'Cause I get happy when you're happy. When you're happy, I am happy. When you're happy, honey, I get happy too. Sounds beautiful. Let's try it again. I get happy when you're happy. When you're happy, I am happy. When you're happy, honey, I get happy too. Beautiful. We've got that liquid courage. It's helping us. I don't need nothing but a good record playing. I'm just saying it sets the mood. And I don't need nothing but a good glass of wine or a non-alcoholic beverage to help me slow down the time I get to be with you. 'Cause I get happy when you're happy. When you're happy, I'm happy. When you're happy, honey, I get happy too. Beautiful. 'Cause I get happy when you're happy. When you're happy, I'm happy. When you're happy, honey, I get happy too. Ooh, all right, so now we're gonna do some circle singing. And you are all gonna stay on that. So if you've been sitting out feeling a little shy, now is your chance. You can close your eyes. It feels so good to sing together. And I'm gonna do something fancy. So you're gonna go, I get happy when you're happy. When you're happy, I'm happy. When you're happy, honey, I get happy too. So hold that down. I'll be so happy when you are happy too. I'll be so happy when you are happy too. Keep going. I'll be happy when you are happy. We'll be happy, happy together. I'll be happy when you're happy too. All right, last time all together. I get happy when you're happy. When you're happy, I'm happy. When you're happy, honey, I get happy too. Thank you so much. Bravo. Thanks for being courageous and trying something new. Now what do we do? Questions. You all ask questions, or I ask questions.
No, yeah, we ask questions.
Do you often bring circle singing into your show? Do you get your audience to sing along?
You know, It's always special for everyone, but it is something that I have been doing. I also am an educator, and I just feel like singing together in community is really important, especially these days. And I often will. So I just went on tour. I went on tour in Europe, and it was a disaster. Yeah, I can laugh about it now, but in the moment it was a disaster. And I showed up on maybe like the third show to the venue, and a pigeon, this was in southern England, a pigeon literally fell dead out of the sky and almost, hey dad, I'm telling stories about my disastrous tour. So this pigeon fell dead out of the sky, and that night everything went wrong in the set, and my banjo broke, the electronics broke, everything went wrong. I've never had such a disaster, but when those kinds of moments happen, it encourages you to do new things and to think in the moment, which I think being a childhood educator also trains you to do, is like, okay, that's not working, let's pivot really quick. So at the end of the show, I just was like, fuck it, jumped off the stage, and we did that song in the round with the audience, because like all of the microphones, the cable, everything was just breaking, and I needed to connect with the audience. So I jumped in. It was so special, and people really felt great about it. And then for the rest of the tour, that's how we would close the set. So even when things started going right, we would still come into the room and sing in a circle together. And I think I'll continue doing it that way, because it's just such an incredible way to connect with other people. And yeah. But it is special and different every time. Yes.
What drew you to the banjo after learning violin?
Good question. I grew up with country music and bluegrass. My mom is from West Virginia, so it wasn't a totally crazy sound, even though I grew up in the Lower East Side, where there probably aren't very many banjos. So I love that kind of Appalachian folk music, and ended up studying as a musicologist, kind of American folk tradition. In the legacy of Alan Lomax. But it was a total mistake, actually, how I started playing. I was stranded at a friend's house in Los Angeles, and there happened to be a banjo there, and I just needed something to kill time. So I picked it up, and now it's actually my favorite instrument to play. It's just got such a unique sound. It's really easy because that's automatically a G chord. So if you're trying to learn something, don't learn the guitar, try the banjo. Yeah. Any other questions? Yeah.
You said you taught childhood education.
Mm-hmm.
How is that like illuminated or come about in your music? Where do you kind of see that merge?
It is totally merged. And I teach little kids, and I also teach big kids and grown-ups and grandmas and things like that. But I think I was just saying that I think everybody, every person, and animals too, are just inherently musical. There's something about the vibrations and the frequencies that draw us together and towards the sound. And children are just so magical and open to that. I have a 13-month-old baby also, and so I'm seeing firsthand how instantly little beings are drawn to sound. I mean, she'll just sit with the speaker like this, and she wants to play. So yeah, I think that it's an incredible way to connect with other people. And yeah, children keep me curious, actually, to stay on theme. And the kind of wide-eyed wonder that a little kid hearing, like if I do this trick where you go, woo! And you can kind of hear it resonating. Like babies, kids will be like, whoa, what is that sound? And again, just like needing to pivot. And when you're teaching, you're also performing and kind of commanding a space, and it's sort of like a stage. So I find that my education brain is often informing my musical performance brain as well. And it's the same thing. It's like, how do you sort of capture capture energy and then inspire it to grow. Yeah. Are you a teacher?
No.
No. Yeah.
Honestly, I felt like you were teaching us through that song, so I get your teacher vibe.
Yeah, great. Thank you. I also, Pete Seeger is like one of my folk icons, and he was all about that too. So carrying on the tradition, hopefully. Yeah.
My question is about the song itself.
Yeah.
I'm curious about if it was written about for a specific, like you as a specific person, and if so, without betraying who that is, could you share something about the circumstance that inspired you to write that song?
That's a great question, and I will share some secrets about that. It was written for a specific person that I was in a long-term relationship with in the past. And I released a record in March that's called Swan Songs. And this song was on it, but it was turned into a hyper pop song. So it's like really manic and has this like bubbly bass and like kind of like a crazy energy. And I'm putting out an EP that has the acoustic version because in its essence, it is this like pure 2-chord love song. But the theme of the record, Swan Songs, is kind of playing off of that Swan Lake dichotomy of like the black swan and the white swan. Odetta is my name. Odette is the name of the white swan, and then Odile is the black swan. So it's sort of these like evil twin concepts. And that came up a lot lyrically on the record. So when we were trying, I probably have done this song a million different ways, and I wanted it to have that kind of like pop sensibility, and also the folk sensibility. But the secret of the song is that the chorus is like, I get happy when you're happy, right? Which is like this beautiful sentiment. And that is very true, that I love making people happy, and it does actually make me happy. But that relationship was a little problematic. And so the kind of like evil twin interpretation of this is kind of this like codependent dynamic of like, I can only be happy if you're happy, and like my happiness is somehow tied to yours, and so is my unhappiness. So that's the secret evil twin of the song. But for tonight, it's just positive vibes. Yeah.
For us, like I actually thought it was for one person because you inhabited it while you were performing it as the back and forth between people.
Mm.
I could feel in the room that was resonating out. The simple truth is that when we just make each other happy, I'm happy, you're happy. It's that simple.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Thanks.
So I got around to poking around your new record, and it's very different from your prior stuff. So I was curious if you could say a bit more about it and like why you made the departure that you did.
Thank you for listening. I had 2 records that came out that I was working with one producer, and it was just a duo project. And the entire thesis and idea behind that production was that every sound was generated by me. And so even if we had a drum, it sounds like drums, it would be a sample of a faucet as a snare, or keys on a radiator, or a bass would actually be my voice tuned down 2 or 3 octaves. And that was a really fun sort of like parameter to work with. Those limitations, I think, are really helpful in creative spaces. I went on tour for the second record called Old Rock Hounds Never Die. And then I came back home in February of 2020, and I was like, all right, I'm ready to make a new record. And started like demoing some things out with my best friend who I had been touring with, who's a drummer, and our other buddy from college. And we had some kind of basic files in Ableton, and then, didn't see each other until July, basically, which was also kind of like a secret. We were like secretly met up to like work on these songs. So basically, the pandemic became a collaborator in the record, and we had to do everything remotely, which was a strange and interesting creative process. And so we were doing everything from our respective rooms, which meant that we didn't have, I didn't have like a home studio or anything like that. So the digital interface actually is reflected on the sound. So it's a lot more synthesizers. So it's a lot more like digital drums, vocal processing, because to be honest, like one song is a banjo song, and I love this banjo, but it's a piece of shit. And it sounded terrible on my like little home studio rig. So we ended up basically turning my banjo into a synthesizer so that we could have this kind of like warm energy. And that's one of my favorite songs. And again, it's like something that I would never have thought of, to feed the audio file of my banjo into a Moog and then kind of twiddle the dials and find something that sounds cool. And now that's going to be on my next record. That's going to be something that I like, a color that I'm painting with. So if you had heard my other records, which were much more folky and like natural, I guess, still with a little bit of experimental pizzazz, but this one is extremely like hyper technicolor. So that's also why I'm putting out an EP in the fall, because it's going to be kind of coming back to the roots and more instruments, not so much synthesizer. But yeah, the circumstances of the pandemic like forced the hand, and I think that that's cool, and that's part of the story. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, thank you so much.